So, when did you start teaching? How old were you?
23,
Okay.
22, 23.
So, you went through, did you go to kindergarten?
Yep.
Did you do preschool?
Kind of.
Okay.
Like
so,
every other
let's say you
day.
did at least 13 years
Yeah.
of sitting in a classroom. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you chose to go through another 4 years or so of sitting in a classroom.
Sure.
And then you chose as your life's work sitting in a classroom.
A year of graduate school, quote unquote.
Yeah. Do you think you might be biased towards thinking that classrooms are really desirable environments?
No.
They are for Ryan Tibbens.
Well, only when I'm in front of them. I don't generally like them as much when I'm in them. I say that.
Tell me about that.
I say that all the time, though.
Okay, but tell me about that. Why is
I
that?
tell kids all the time. I say, you need to remind me, or sometimes I ask, like when we finish, I'm always asking how'd that go, what'd you think?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, I need feedback so we did something new, and sometimes it just, if you're not asking if you're doing well, we're in a spot where we don't really know if we're doing well. As you pointed out before, you get observations, but the observations very rarely involve any specific constructive criticism. It's either sort of generalities or it's nothing, or you get a bunch of stuff, which means you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So I ask kids all the time, but I tell them when I'm asking, especially when I'm serious and I really want them to tell me what was
what's
bad
going
here.
on? Yeah.
I say, you guys don't understand this the way that I probably do, but this room and this class is very different when you're standing where I am versus sitting where you are. And so from my spot, this can all look great or look bad, and that has no actual connection to what you had just experienced. So you have to tell me from your perspective how did this go. I was never a person that hated school. I'm good enough at school, that's fine. But I mean, I didn't want to be a teacher when I was in high school. I didn't want to be a teacher when I was in college. I didn't want to be a teacher until I was already student teaching. Like I was teaching before I thought I might actually do this for a while.
Okay, so why did you, if you're doing student teaching, then you consciously chose to major in education?
English and minored in education.
I mean,
and
at
you do a
some
master's.
point, yes, at some point, yeah. So what caused you to choose that line of work or line of relaxation?
I had some, yes, well, that was it. I had some friends.
I enjoy my job.
Friends in English classes who were already doing a secondary education, minor, which at James Madison then leads to a master's in a fifth year. And they're like, you should come, you should check it out. Like, it's really not bad. The classes are easy. It gives you something to do. And I was like, I got plenty to do. I was starting to take anthropology courses. So I finished with a major in English, a minor in secondary education, and a minor in anthropology. And I think I was one class short of a second major.
Okay.
I just wasn't going to stay extra time to, what am I going to do with anthropology?
What am I going to do with English?
Well, that I can parlay into something a lot easier.
Can I back up just a second? Why did you choose English?
I was good at English in high school. I like to read and write. I talk a lot.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
The things that I'm like doing right now are things that I've always sort of done or been interested in, and it just seemed like a thing I could do in college that.
Okay, so we have a lot in common because
some of the stuff I was into.
I chose English because I like to read a lot, so I'm thinking, great, this is good. I also ended up doing radio, film, and television. Yeah. I don't know, do they do radio anymore? But
this is close.
So and my film courses in college were really fun. But I did the same thing, I thought. Yeah. And the education major came in junior and senior year. Okay.
I probably started. I want to say it was sophomore year. I took the first class. It was like a gateway, like introductory, I don't know, history of education or educational issues, or I don't remember what it was. I remember the professor, like, I don't know her name, but I remember her. And I mean, a big part of the reason I took it, though, was I had about half of a crush on one of the girls that said you should do this. Uh-huh. Who's very smart. Is now like an excellent teacher. I mean, whatever that means, but she's an excellent teacher and all the rest. And I got into the classes and I realized, like, these classes are full of cute girls. These are easy A's. And so in every undergraduate education course, and about half of them in the graduate program, the first thing they do, the icebreaker in every class, is they go around the room and say, so everyone introduce yourself and say why you want to be a teacher. And I would be sitting somewhere in the back of every one of the classes, and they would get to me, and I would go, I'm Ryan Tibbens, and I don't really want to be a teacher. And they'd say, well, why not? What are you doing here? I said, well, I really like college and I'm good at it, and this program gets me an extra year of college, and I'm keeping my options open.
Yeah.
And that was literally it.
Okay.
You know? And I was in all of the classes because there were, it was 80% females and 50% of them were cute.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to work nearly as hard as some of my other classes to get an A.
Yeah. So you get into doing your student teaching.
Yeah.
Where'd you do your student teaching?
I did 6 weeks at Stewart Strap. No, I did high school first. I did 6 weeks. It's funny. It sounds like I'm talking about prison.
Yeah.
I did 6 weeks at San Quentin, and so I did 6 weeks.
Red is the black.
At Broadway High School, which is in, I think it's Augusta County. It's a very rural area.
Yeah.
Just off Route 81. And then I did 6 weeks at Stewart Straft Middle School. Or it might have been might be called Fort Defiance Middle School. It was in Stewart Straft. Yeah. Which is like halfway between Stanton and Charlottesville.
How did they compare to your schools that you went to? Your elementary years and your high school years, were they the same type?
Yeah, same kind of thing, different student body. Where I grew up was very solidly middle class, maybe bordering upper middle class. And both of those schools were on the lower middle, sort of. So in terms of some of the resources in the building, it was a little different. But
yeah. I only asked because I did my student teaching in an inner city school, which was very different, at least demographically, than and size-wise from my very rural small school.
Right.
So you're actually doing your practicum, and your life changes.
No, I just, I was good at it, I guess.
So why did you like it?
Because if you do it right, it was something I learned earlier in college, and that's where, while this is my only sort of real full-time job, I've done a lot, like not always now, but I used to, I always took summer jobs, and so one of the things I loved landscaping. I did like a landscaping job my first two.
It explains all
2
your
3 years
Facebook
college.
pictures.
Yeah, right, yeah. But I always really liked it at the end of the day, and we'd work like 12 hours. It was a small company, and the guy always took on more work than we could do.
Yeah.
And so like from literally the day I got home from the end of college, the end of the school year, to the day before I moved back, I was working 12 and 13-hour days. But I liked that it was hard work, and at the end of the day, I could see I'd done a thing. You could see, like, I could drive back by and be like, look at that, I did that.
Yeah.
And you could see it. And so I liked in that there was a noticeable and sort of tangible difference. And that even though you're sort of repeating the same stuff, I'm mowing the same yard, or I'm digging the same hole, or whatever, that you could never take a day off and expect the same results. Like, even though it was, in a way, once you know what you're doing, there's a part of it that's a little bit mindless, and I don't mean that in a negative way. You can sort of autopilot it. And I thought about, like, school is all of that, except the results aren't quite as tangible. You have to pay a little closer attention, and you can never do the autopilot thing if you want to be good at it. And so it's like, I just enjoyed that I got to do things I was good at, and that if I was doing it well, other people got better at it or saw value in it. And I don't mean to take anything away from another subject area, but like you should be able to read. Like, that's an important part of being a human being in the modern world. Writing's important for most people. You should be able to do at least a little bit. Yeah. And you should be able to speak well.
Okay.
And that has practical value. I say this the first week of every school year in every class. Regardless of what you're going to do in your life, I guarantee you that English class, or at least the skills that come from it, maybe not the class itself, these skills will matter to you for the rest of your life. And I can help you to do that.
But how much? Because what research there is out there does not support most of what we do in high school.